welcome to the Edge of the Earth podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Drummond, and I am back here again this week with another episode for you. I'm not going to do a whole lot of editing in this episode. I'm just going to kind of let it fly. It's just going to be me for this episode, just kind of talking. I got a few things I want to go over. I'm going to tell you my personal ghost story and what happened to me, what I've experienced, and also I'm going to talk about why we believe in the paranormal, or why we feel the way that we feel about it. So also, first off, I want to start by thanking Ashley, one of the people I work with, who follows me on here, and on Spreaker, that is. And anybody that follows us, it really helps. And I'll give you a shout out right here on the show. It really helps us when you follow us on Spreaker. I need to get 100, and I'm still at 63 as of this podcast, and this is episode, number 7 or something like that. So the more the better. Also to Tatiana, who is helping me out a lot. Thank you both, and I look forward to creating more content, and hopefully everybody can find something here that they really enjoy, and something that they like, because that's one thing I really strive to do, is provide content that people like, not just opinions and feelings and stuff like that, because everybody has an opinion, and I don't know if there's anything in particular that would make my opinion worth more than anybody else's. So I like to give information and factual evidence as well, not just you sitting here and listening to me rant while I go over all these topics. So anyway, on to the show. So I think first off, I should say that I've studied the paranormal for about 10 years now. We're coming up on a decade. So ever since I was around, 15 or 16, and I'm 26 now, so it's been a long time. And I studied all of this for so long. I first got into it by listening to Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, and also George Norrie, even. I don't really listen to him now, because his style's way different. It's changed a lot, but I respect his show and what he does and all that stuff. I really hope that Art Bell can come back soon. He had his show, Midnight in the Desert, which was awesome while it was going. So anyway, I've studied it for that long, and I studied it for, I think, 7 years before I actually saw anything. I think the first things that I had seen were some UFO type things over my parents' farmhouse in southwest Missouri. And it would be strange, because at night I would usually try to make a point to go outside and just watch the stars for a little while. Usually almost every night. Sometimes during the winter it was hard because it's so cold and all that stuff. But we would go up into the field, and I had a little platform set up and all that stuff, so I could just sit there and watch the stars for a couple hours every night and see what was going on. And it's amazing what you can see when you actually take the time to sit back and pay attention to the stars, because it's just so crazy to me that, you can sit back and just kind of look up and think that you're staring off into space, like you're staring off into forever, like we don't even know how big it is. You're just you're looking at something amazing, and I don't think people realize that, because usually they're looking down, or they're not paying attention to that sort of thing. But I would go out and I would look at this, and you'd be surprised what you can see. You see a lot of shooting stars, which, that's not really, it's not technically a shooting star. It's just something burning up in the atmosphere as it is falling down into the earth. And you see a lot of those. Sometimes you'll see satellites that are going across the sky. It'll look just like a star. It'll be totally white, but it'll just be moving across the sky really quickly. And I've seen a lot of those. Sometimes you can see the International Space Station. You can also track that online to know where it's at and if you have a chance to see it or not. And then also, sometimes you will see strange things. Sometimes, if you see something that looks like a star, but it goes really fast and it slows down and then it goes fast again, or if it makes erratical movements, like satellites, not that I'm aware of, can make 90-degree turns in midair and start going a different direction. I don't think we have any satellites that really do that, but that's something I would classify as a UFO. But there was one night I was walking up through the field to get to the one spot that I usually go to, and I wasn't even to the spot yet, and I saw up in the sky these 3 bright orange lights, and they were kind of in a triangle shape. Like you hear the classic UFO stories. You've got the flying saucers, and then you've got the triangle shapes, and you even got like cigar-type shape craft. But this one, these 3 lights were in kind of a triangle pattern. I didn't see any ship or any visible, lines in the darkness. I just remember the lights. And they were the orange color of like a yard light. And I know there weren't fireworks because there was no noise at all, and they didn't look like fireworks. They were just like almost if you put one of those orange yard lights up in the sky. But it was about, at least 5 times brighter than a normal yard light. Like, it was huge. And all 3 of these were huge. And it just kind of lit up, and then it faded back out just as quickly as it came. Like, it was only there for a few seconds. So, it was a really weird experience. I don't know if it was like some kind of thrusters firing, as it was taking off or what. It sounds crazy to talk about, but anyway, that was my one really big UFO sighting, and I still to this day have no idea what it was. Because we're talking, rural Missouri. I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of government testing going on in this area, because there's nothing even close that I know of in terms of military bases where they test that sort of thing. But anyway, so that was my big UFO sighting. And then, as I said before, it was probably 7 years before I saw what I think was my first ghost. And after studying it for so long, because, you study something for a certain amount of time, and you start to wonder, am I ever going to see this? Am I ever going to get to experience this? And finally, I think I got my wish. I was working one night at an old hotel called the Cliff House, and it's in Manitou Springs, Colorado. It's right next to Colorado Springs, where I used to live for quite a few years, but it's basically, Manitou Springs is one of those, like, it's a suburb, but it's kind of attached to Colorado Springs. Like, you drive down the road and wouldn't even know the difference. But so this was a really old hotel. It had burned once or twice before, but anyway, I had to stay late one night because I was working down in the laundry area, trying to keep these like bathroom towels stocked for some wedding that they had going on. And it was almost 11 o'clock at night, so it was really late. All the machines were shut off. They had a press room in the back where they run the sheets through to press the sheets down and make them really flat and nice and all that stuff. And the press machine was turned off. And in this hotel, they had, well, first off, in Manitou Springs, underneath the city, they had a bunch of tunnels. Like this whole tunnel system that ran under the town. And supposedly people did like devil worshipping there, or some kind of rituals and just weird stuff. And so you already had that history going on. And one of those tunnels actually connected to the basement, or like the maintenance shop was also down there in the basement behind the press room. And one of these tunnels came into the maintenance shop. It had been like, it had caved in or something, so the tunnel wasn't really active or anything. But so you've got that there. I don't know if that contributed or not. But anyway, the press machine was off, but I started hearing noises in the press room when there was nobody in there. And I was up the hallway in the laundry area with all the machines off, and it was totally quiet. And that's how I realized that something was going on, is because it was so quiet. And so I took out my phone, and I went to the back room where the press room was, and I put my phone down on the table. And I just left it recording for a few minutes just to see if I'd catch anything, just for the heck of it. And after a couple minutes, I went back and I picked up the phone, and I listened to it. And sure enough, I don't know what it was exactly, but it was kind of like a I feel stupid doing this, but it was like a rah kind of sound. And I don't know what it was. I thought maybe, it was a wooden countertop that I had the phone set on, so maybe I kind of rubbed the phone on the countertop to make that noise, like the sound of plastic on wood as you scrape it along. But the problem was the noise was about 30 seconds before the recording ended. And there's no way that I picked it up and then waited 30 seconds before I hit the stop button. I picked it up and hit stop. So I don't think it was the table. So I don't know what that was. I think I still have that recording somewhere on my computer. I'll have to find it one of these days. So after that happened, I went back to the main area in the laundry spot, and I was I was thinking that was kind of weird. I don't know what it was. But, so I just keep going on about my business, and I was folding these little hand towels. I can't even forget what I was doing. Like, that, this moment is stuck with me for a long time. And so I was facing this table, and to my right, kind of to my right behind me, I start to see what looks like this black mass kind of forming over my right shoulder. And I thought it was kind of weird, and I was like, what's going on? So I kind of slowly turned, and actually I remember turning and looking at this thing, like, full on. Like, it wasn't just peripheral vision, it was like I saw it full on. And I kind of saw it there for just, like, it all happened so fast. And it looked like it came at me, like it was coming right toward me, like it was going to pass through me or something. But I guess it went behind me, and then I kind of looked to my left, and it was gone. There was nothing there. And that really freaked me out, and it stuck with me for quite a while. But needless to say, I clocked out early that night, and I did not stay for my full shift. It was a really, really strange deal. And as the years go by and I get, further and further removed from that event, I start to question myself even more. I'm like, did that really happen? Did I really experience that? Or I don't know. It was a weird deal. I'm positive it happened. It's just, it's been so much time now that your memory starts to fade and you start to wonder and all that stuff. And it wasn't the first time that they had things going on at that hotel. I know on the 4th floor, they used to hear children playing, and like little girls laughing when there were no kids there. And it was only on 4th floor for the children. But then I remember one day, I used to help clean some of the rooms, and on 1st floor, I went in, and after these people had checked out, and it's like some of the chairs were flipped over, and the room was totally torn apart. And they left a note on the bed, and the note just said, "This place is haunted," with a bunch of exclamation points. And so I thought that was kind of weird. I'm not sure what that was, but they could have just been like drinking or who knows what. But that was just another thing. And then I know one room, like a bunch of famous people had stayed there, and I think Buffalo Bill Cody was one of them. And he stayed in, I think it was room 403. And they had actually had so many people complain about that room, they actually had an Indian come in and bless the room, or, excuse me, Native American, but some kind of, I don't know, shaman, I guess you could call it, but anyway, come in and bless that room to fix the problems, and I guess they haven't had any real issues with that since, so I guess that one actually worked. I know it was kind of creepy. A lot of the housekeepers used to think that they saw shadows in the hallways and all that kind of stuff, and I tried really hard to find it and see it, but I guess one of the housekeepers told me I was looking for it, and that's why I couldn't see it. So I don't know the rules as far as that goes, but anyway, yeah, that's pretty much my my big story. The only time I've ever seen a ghost for sure that I know of. I remember one night, or one morning rather, I worked at the Hilton, and they actually had 3 parking levels that went down below the hotel. So, like, we're talking underground parking. I think they had 4 levels total, but I used to, your shift would start with valet at 5 a.m., and I remember there was one morning, it was like 5:05 in the morning, it's still dark outside, still cold and all that, and I had to run down to bring up one of the cars. And so you run down the stairs, and I remember, kind of lightly jogging across the parking lot and across the parking structure. And I could have swore I saw just out of the corner of my eye, like a human standing there, but like with burns all over its body. And that hotel also had been burned down before. And so I don't know, it could have just been me. I was early, and I already knew that the hotel had burned down at one point, and maybe I wasn't totally done dreaming yet. I don't know. But that was another weird moment that kind of startled me a little bit, but that was early in the morning, so I can't say for sure. I could have been out of it a little bit, but yeah. And I said that I was going to talk about in this episode why we believe, and I think that the reason that I've always studied ghosts is because I'm really concerned with what happens after you die, because we don't really know. As I've said in the past, I think on this podcast, that I don't really follow religion anymore. I used to try and defend it so much, and I tried for a really long time, and I used to work on all the apologetics and, figuring out how this can all make sense and all that. And one day I was like, I can't defend this anymore. There's too much that, is either contradictory or just flat out, false or lies or, whatever. And so leaving religion, it leaves you with a lot more questions, because you don't have these answers that are just laid out before you. And, you don't have anything where somebody just tells you, yes, this is how it is for sure, and you better believe this, otherwise you'll burn forever in this hell that we've thought up. So, I don't know. You just have to... I feel like if there is one way to find out what happens after you pass on, is with ghosts. I mean, if you think about it, there's more evidence of ghosts existing than there is for God. Same thing with Bigfoot even, actually, really. I mean, there's more evidence of Bigfoot than there is of a supreme being, I guess. But not to say I'm not open to the idea. It's just the fact is, I have to deal with what is tangible and what I can... Well, that's kind of false, because ghosts aren't tangible, right? But you know what I'm saying. I have to deal with what we do have some sort of evidence for. We can sometimes have pictures or video or audio recordings of, think about that. You're getting an audio recording of something that you did not hear yourself, but the audio recording picked it up somehow. So it's like it's there, but where did it come from? And oftentimes you can know for sure that it didn't come from some rogue radio signal or, some TV signal or who knows what. I mean, it came from somewhere, you just don't know where, and you don't know how. And I think there's something to it. So there's plenty of evidence. I mean, think about how many witnesses there are. I mean, chances are every single person alive either knows somebody or has themselves experienced some sort of ghost-like phenomena. Something. And that is staggering if you think about it. So that's why I pursue it so hard. All I'm really saying is that I think there's enough evidence out there, or enough probable cause to look into it further. And that's why I do this. I like to think about things that are grander than, your typical 9-to-5 job. I like to delve into what else is out there beyond human life. I need something bigger. And at the end of the day, we're not all going to live forever. And so, people can say, well, can you really do anything about it even if you find out? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I think it's worth looking into, though. And if I never find the answers before I die, at least I tried, Like, at least I am searching for something. And it's not going to be found with somebody telling me, believe this Bible that has all these stories in it that didn't actually happen. But hey, it's the meaning behind it, It's a light outline. It's not meant to be taken literally. All these excuses. There's only one way to find out, for sure. And I'm not ready to do that yet. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you next week, right here, at the edge of the earth.